President Muhammadu Buhari today at the council chambers of the State House signed the 2020 appropriation bill of 13.588 trillion naira into law. Now, it is tagged the Budget of Economic Recovery and Resilience. The President also signed the Finance Bill 2020 to support the implementation of the 2021 budget. In signing the budget and finance bills, the President has kept his word to restore the January to December budget cycle. The President's assent is coming 3 days after the National Assembly, which passed the bill on December 21st, transmitted the bill to him for his assent. The legislators raised the budget to 13.588 trillion naira from the 13.08 trillion proposed by the President while presenting the budget estimate to the National Assembly in October. Now, this represents an increase of 505 billion naira. So, what are the dynamics in the budget of economic recovery and resilience? What is embedded in the recurrent and capital provisions? How will these aid economic recovery at a time of recession? Significantly also, the nation is celebrating the President for the timely assent of the budget and the lack of rancor in the budgetary process. What will be the ripple effect of the restoration of a regular budget calendar? These are the issues in focus as Nigeria Today, which is the last edition for the year 2020, takes a look at the budget 2021. Welcome to Nigeria Today. I'm Chimobi Walter Naj. Okay, so joining me to speak further on the signed budget is Ahmed Abubakar Tanimu Esquire. He is a former banker, human rights activist, and private legal practitioner. You're welcome to the studio with us, sir.
Thank you for having me.
I also have joining us via Zoom Simon Samson Galadima. He's an economic analyst who would help us with some insight on the discussion today. Glad to have you with us, Mr. Simon.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
All right, let's kick the ground rolling immediately. Now, for the second year consecutively, the President has kept his promise to run with a January to December budget cycle. Now, how will these elements of certainty impact on economic planning in the public and private sector? I'd like Ahmed Abubakar to take that question.
We should be celebrating. We have every reason to celebrate. Before now, we know the haphazard natures our budget have been passed by due to the rancorous relationship between the legislative arm and the executive arm. But we've seen that over the years, over the months, they've tried to streamline those issues of disagreement, where you have various MDAs, ministries, departments of government coming beforehand to make representation. And I know certain firm decisions were made to ensure that every single MDAs and government organs, parastatals make their presentation, and they should put up a defense. And usually when you get to the nitty-gritty of what constitutes a budget, those are those threatening things that brings about delay. So we are celebrating on the one hand that it has been done timeously, but we are more interested in the implementation. If they've participated jointly in coming up with the budget in record time, then we should be yardstick for the implementation, supervision, monitoring, performing their oversight function. That's the legislative arm. They have a duty to ensure that so that we will not go back to the days of the years where people just cook up figures and you see a particular subhead reoccurring. If it is computers, they are buying computers consistently, and when you visit some of those MDAs, ministries, you don't see anything to show for it. So it's not about passing the budget alone, timeously, but the implementation and
okay, so I'd like you to hold that thought on implementation, because we'll still have a lot of things to talk on that. But then I'd like to throw the same question to Mr. Galadima. we're having the second consecutive running, January to December budget cycle. We had that from 2020, and we're going to be having that for 2021. Now, how does that help in planning, really?
It's very good for you to have a constant budget cycle. Before now, it was not consistent. You could start at any time of the year and you could end at different times of the year. And that really affected both consumer sentiment and investment sentiments in the negative sense. But with this being constant, the budget cycle starts on the 1st and it ends by the end of the year. It projects a positive mindset. It projects to the world that Nigeria is serious and we are a bit organized now, and is going to inject some certainty into either the private sector or the public sector, and things will be better organized because of it. And when things are better organized, it has this synergy. It increases productivity. It gets things done better than if things were done haphazardly in a way that is not too organized.
All right, thank you very much for that input. But then, Mr. Abubakar, instructively also, you could see that the process this year seemed to have been remarkably rancor-free. Talking about in the past when we used to have budget padding and all of that rancor between the legislators and the executive arm of government, who puts what, who removes what, and all of that. Now, does this represent another major accomplishment, and suggest that there was a consensus, sort of a consensus, between the direction of the budget?
Absolutely. As I stated earlier, if you look at the way it was even done, for the first time, or so to say, they are now making it a practice where you have the various MDAs, the various ministries of government coming to make representation before the subcommittees of if you know the legislators, they have various committees that relate and perform oversight function on some of these MDAs, the ministries. So it makes the process to be seamless, because from day one they were involved in the whole process. They had time to scrutinize, to ask salient questions, pertinent issues were raised and were tackled. So coming to the floor of the Red Chamber, it was easier. It is a smooth sail, because all those contentious issues have been deliberated, and we hope that we should have a consistent flow of this kind of budget process making, in the sense that both the executive, both the legislature, they've all come hand in hand, resolve gray areas. The issue of padding, which has been the trend, we know it's no longer fashionable, but we still have increments on the part of the National Assembly, which equally they have the right to do, but we look at it from the angle that it's better if the various concerned agencies are the ones that should be in the process of trying to appreciate the essence of their budget. Then they can now still chip in those little increments. We are talking about around 500 billion. For some, they see it as substantial. The function of the legislature is to make laws, and if they now start showing to the world as if they are implementing, because you implement when you have the control of the resources for it, by them increasing it with about 500 billion, some will raise some gray areas, but constitutionally they have it. But as I said, that can be averted if from the initial position you have certain things you want it to be factored into the budget, should be presented through the respective MDAs and government.
But at least that shows that there seems to be some kind of understanding between the legislature. Okay, that's quite commendable. Then the Minister of Finance is expected to, in just a very short moment, give a breakdown of the budget. But let us look at the principles behind it, as it is tagged Budget of Economic Recovery and Resilience. Mr. Galadima, what could be the philosophical understanding, of this, what the budget has been tagged, resilience and recovery?
Can you repeat that, please?
All right, I don't know if you can hear me clearly. I said that in just a few days from now, we're expecting the Minister of Finance to give a breakdown of the budgets, but let us look at the principles behind it, as it is tagged Budgets of Economic Recovery and Resilience. Now, what could be the philosophical underpinning?
All right. The economy is actually on its knees at the moment. We contracted for 2 consecutive quarters. Unfortunately for us, in the second quarter of this year, the contraction was worse than the third quarter. So we are hopeful that things will get better. So they tacked the title for this 2021 budget is Budget of Economic Recovery and Resilience. That's the thing they want to achieve. That's the overarching objective for the budget, that there should be recovery from us contracting to possibly being on the positive growth path, and also to be resilient, not to be really fragile in such a way that a lot of things will get better. Is actually expressing or projecting the hope of the country into the budget. So we are confident by God's special grace that we'll be out of recession next year. Though there are some headwinds, coronavirus is still there, then the price of oil on the international market has not fully stabilized. There are so on the horizon. So we're not unconscious of all these things, but we're confident, and I believe the government is working assiduously towards seeing us get out of this recession. And that's why we're having an expansionary budget, like Keynesian economic policy will say. When your economy is contracting, you embark on expansionary policy so as to stimulate growth. And that's what they're trying to do. And if they will really be serious about it, if there'll be things, the budget will be implemented the way it should be implemented, then we should see some impact on the economy.
All right, thank you very much, Simon, for that input. Unfortunately, we didn't hear some part of what you said earlier. I'm sure due to poor network connection there. But looking forward, we know that the Minister of Finance and, of course, the CBN Governor has also projected that Nigeria will be out of recession by the end of first quarter of 2021. Let's hope that all of that work out. This is Nigeria Today. You're still with us, and very soon we'll be taking a break, and when we return we'll be looking at the different the budget breakdown and different allocations to different sectors and how it's all going to work together in achieving this budget of recovery and resilience. Do stay with us. All right, so welcome back. This is Nigeria Today. If you're just tuning in, we are discussing budgets of 2021, which was signed into law by the President today. And we've been in the studio with Ahmed Abubakar Tanimu. Is a former banker, human rights activist, and a private legal practitioner. And also via Zoom is Mr. Simon Samson Galadima, an economic analyst. And we've all been looking at the prospects of the 2021 budget. Mr. Abubakar, this budget is coming at a time, the economy is in recession again. What are the policies that could, facilitate the economic recovery, when you talk about the different policies, projection that we are looking forward to be having, the ERGP has just elapsed today, and we're hoping to begin with the new National Economic Plan, 2021 to 2023, and then the National Economic Agenda 2021, of course, to 2050. So what are some of the policies that you see that would reshape, what we'll be looking at in 2021?
I align myself with what Samson said earlier. We witnessed two contraction, and we can effectively say we are in recession.
Yes.
And we don't want it to continue. The term of the budget is deliberate. We call it budget of recovery. It means we all know the state of events where we have found ourselves. There's no more gainsaying. COVID has really decimated the economy. Then we now have the mono economic system. We practically rely solely on single source of revenue, which is the petroleum products, oil, and we know what is the way it's tumbling in the international market. So we've learned our lessons. We believe that the government has really realized the fact that we cannot continue to thrive in this manner. For recession, historically, it has been shown that you have to spend your way out, what we call like a form of parachute spending. You want to allocate resources to the various sectors of the economy, and you want it in a very huge way so that the impact now have a ripple effect and to cascade down to the very common man on the street. Over time, we've not succeeded in achieving that because we have so many factors that are militating against that. We talk about the issue of income leakages. We talk about wastages. If you look at the composition of this budget, we are still having a recurrent expenditure of close to 5.6 trillion. Then you have the CAPEX, that's the capital expenditure, is lower than the recurrent expenditure. We are talking of what that means is that a lot of the monies being earmarked will be used to service loans, and we are still taking more loans because the projection, the sources of income that we are looking at basically will still go back to oil. Agric is a long-term investment. Insecurity in the country has made business activities to slow. So for all those projection of source of income, the factors are not really very pleasant. So the government needs to now do more in terms of set laudable objectives, but those objectives cannot be realized because even from the word from the get-go, we are talking about recurrent, which has been a trend ever since. We spend more in terms of paying salary, in terms of taking care of overhead costs, and deliberately the government have tried, but in that aspect they've not really done. We are not calling for downsizing. What we are saying is that there are certain ministries, agencies that can be right-sized. You take people that are not productive in one department, in one ministry, and you try to rationalize them by right-sizing them, giving them. Now we are talking about registration. Look at the way NIMSI and so many. So there are many things that needed to be done for us to achieve the fact that we want to move away from the state of events where we are at the moment. Things are not really working well. The economy, when people talk about all the factors, the indices, the breakdown, I think it's only proper if you take it down to the ordinary man on the street. What will he say has the government done over time, and how will the budget now impact on his well-being? People have rents to pay, people have fees. Now we are going to the new session, so a lot of things are coming at this same time. So the government needs to do more to ensure that the budget is implementable, not only reeling out laudable figures that at the end of it all we will not know what we have achieved.
All right, thank you very much. Looking at what you said, that for people to start having the impact, feeling the impact, of what government is doing, and over time you could see that government has done a lot of interventions, to try to stimulate growth in the economy. Mr. Galadima, I mean, when you look at what's been happening in the Nigerian Stock Exchange, just recently, Nigeria came out tops, as number one in the global most performing stock markets in the world, ahead of US and the rest of them. Does this also show some sort of hope, for 2021, looking at that, the stock market performance, and having a budget recovery and resilience, working hand in hand. And also don't forget the fact that the 2020 budget, part of it is also going to be running concurrently with the 2021 budget. I mean, does it show some sort of hope for the future? All right, so let me just throw the question to you. I mean, if you understand what I said earlier, the Nigerian Stock Exchange has performed creditably well. Just recently, they came out tops in the global most performing stocks. Now, does that also show hope for Nigeria?
Definitely. It shows that investors have confidence in the capital market, but what we have at hand, it goes beyond that, because we are talking about a budget that we are looking at more than 13 trillion naira. It's not a small amount that we want to rely on the capital market alone. We would have been happier if we are looking at foreign direct investments, those investments that are coming offshore there. It means the international community have confidence in the economy. But as it stands now, we cannot fully, you look at it in terms of percentage. If you look at the NASDAQ, the Dow Jones and the rest, you look at the volume, we have not yet attained that level, but we are on the right trajectory. What is expected is for all sectors. As I said, in terms of recession, you are not only focusing on a single aspect of the economy. You want every aspect. If it is agriculture, all those interventions that the government have done, the anchor borrower, the various loans, the subsidies, the grants, we want to start seeing results by the first quarter of 2021.
Let me take you back a little bit to what you were saying. Talking about earlier on, having the current expenditure, and the capital expenditure is a little bit over 4.1 trillion naira.
Definitely.
What does this imply for the nation's economic outlook for 2021?
It's a good one. At least we are now trying to, for the first time, we are increasing gradually, steadily over the years our capital expenditure. Capital expenditure focuses on real projects, infrastructure, roads, construction. You have contractors that are needed to be paid. The fundings will be provided. You have new structures, roads connecting interstates. You have all those other projects ongoing, and the new ones that have been approved will now factor it in this capital expenditure. But as I said, when you have a situation where you have your recurrent expenditure, the salaries you pay, the cost of running governance, and then is more than what you are spending. For the economies, they would have preferred a situation where at least you are having it maybe a balance, or the capital expenditure should not be more than the recurrent expenditure. For in a recession, you need to spend more. You need to spend your way out of every situation of recession you find yourself.
Okay, Mr. Galadima, I don't know if we have you back now, but if we do, let's look at the fact that Nigeria is planning, to get out of a mono economy, and diversify its economy. Let's look at some of the allocations that's been going to the Ministry of Agriculture, the Trade and Investment, and the rest of them. Does that show that we are going to make headway in 2021? If you can just give me your response in about 30 seconds.
All right. Nigeria has always been trying to stop to become. We have been dependent on oil for too long, particularly for our foreign exchange earning and our revenue. That's not really healthy for any economy. And different governments have tried over time to make sure that we are out of that territory, that monocultural territory. Unfortunately, it has not worked so far. And even this government, right from day one, they have been trying. So far, they have failed woefully. Though we cannot stop trying because it's the right thing to do. So we have to keep trying until we get out of that territory. For us to be diversified as an economy, it needs to go beyond lip service. We have been basically paying lip service to diversification. We have not been really serious, in my opinion. We still wait for the price of oil to go up when they are down. Like at the moment, we are just hoping that it will get up so that we have more revenue in the coffers of government. That is not, in my opinion, being serious about trying to diversify. I know for agriculture, this government has been trying to pump money, particularly the Monetary Authority and even the federal government. They have been pumping money into agriculture, which is a good thing. But if you ask me, it's like a drop in the ocean. Agriculture alone is not what would stop us from being dependent on oil. We need to prop up other sectors of the economy. And agriculture is primary sector. If you want to look ahead, you have to look at other sectors of the economy. Manufacturing, services. You don't limit yourself to just producing raw materials.
Okay, Mr. Sampson, thank you very much.
Market?
That's the much time will allow us for today on the program. We want to thank you very much, Director General National. We want to thank you very much for being with us on the program today. We've been speaking with Ahmed Abubakar Tanimu. He's a former banker, human rights activist, and a private legal practitioner. And of course, he also joining us via Zoom was Samson Galadima Simon, an economic analyst. We want to thank you both for your insight on the program today.
Thank you for having me, and Happy New Year in advance.
All right, Happy New Year to you and Happy New Year to your Nigeria. Nigeria Today is live every weekday on NTA News 24 at 7:30 in the evening. You can also watch this and other editions of the program on www.youtube.com/NTA News 24 Hub. I'm Chimobi Walter Naji. Many thanks for watching.